What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? This is gonna be your review for the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills season 2. Season 9, episode 2. So this episode, it wasn't really a whole lot, right? They setting up. I know they always do these different trips, so they setting up for their first little trip of the season because I've noticed that on some of the shows they do like little mini trips and then they always do like a big trip. So their big trip is probably gonna be towards the end of the season. You saw it in the previews that they go somewhere in Europe. And so, but this is a little mini trip. So they setting up for that. So you didn't really see a whole lot going on in this episode. So let me just hit some of the highlights. So we start the episode off with Kyle and Lisa Vanderpump hanging out, and they're laughing and they're joking. They went to go get some cosmetic surgery, and they show us a little montage of over the years, of them doing all of this surgery and everything, these different things. And, one thing I love about this show is that the people on this show are unapologetic, that they do whatever they have to do to stay looking young. They've tried, and, like Kyle said, we try the newest thing out because this is where we live and this is what it is. It seemed like a lot of this episode dealt with body issues and beauty and the image of beauty and the idea of beauty. So a couple of things did come up about that, but they were having a good time. And Kyle was like, look, trying to keep Lisa's mind off of what's going on. We know she's grieving. We know she's really dealing with a lot. And they had a good time. They were playing, the plastic surgeon was, doing what he do. And, they were playing along or whatever. So that was pretty good. And we see later on that Kyle is actually dealing with getting ready for some more empty nests. Her daughter is 18. She's getting ready to be going to George Washington University, which is on my side of the world in DC, and so that's a long way. I mean, that's not just you leaving home. That's like, and I know they have money, so she'll probably be coming home more often than the average freshman. Because I know when I was looking at going to colleges, and I was looking at Florida A&M and Bethune-Cookman, my mama was like, you can go to Florida if you want to, but you won't come home but once a year, Christmas and when it's time to pack up your dorm. And I was like, oh, well, maybe I should stay a little closer because, but now they have money, so that probably won't be a big deal. She'll probably be able to fly home whenever she get a little tickle to come home. But, we see Kyle dealing with that, and that's hard. I'm not a mom, but I'm sure I understand what that feels like to have empty nests or just have your kids, leave the nest. We see the girls go out for lunch. Dorit, Lisa Rinna, and Erica Jane. And of course, I love me some Erica Jane, and I love me some Lisa Rinna, even though you was nasty as hell for having them eat that damn food with them flies on it. But that was last week's episode. I'm gonna let that go. But they got to talking, and Dorit was saying how, this would be a great time to go on a trip. She was saying she needs to really get away, that her sister had just gone to this really brand new resort in the Bahamas, and how it would just be great for them to go. And, so they setting up for the trip. So they're going to the Bahamas. But, honey, when she said it was a brand new resort, now, see, there's resort, and then there's rich people resort, right? They go on the rich people resort because we'll get to that at the end of the episode. But this rich people resort. But I wouldn't expect anything less from the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Hello. So, anyway, so they're setting that whole thing up. And we see a scene with Dorit and her husband where she's discussing that who she's going to invite. And he was like, you going to invite Teddy? Because, they got that whole thing going on. And she said, I am. I think I should invite all of the girls. This would be a perfect time for us. If we have anything we need to air out, if we have any, dirty laundry that needs to be talked about, that'll be a perfect time to do it. And I'm ready to move on. Like, the problems that me and Teddy had were so petty that I really am ready to just sort of move on. So then Erica was telling them about getting robbed. I said it in last week's episode, and a lot of y'all commented that y'all agree with me. There's some inside job. You're not going to convince me that these rich people with security and gated communities and all this other stuff that they have going on, you're not going to sit here and tell me that they keep getting robbed and it ain't no inside job, that somebody don't know what's going on and the who and the what. Now, I'm not going to put out there what I think because I don't want to put nobody's business out there, but I really do feel like it's an inside job. Now, who's inside, I don't know, but a security company, the people who police the neighborhoods, something, honey. Um, and my girl Erica, y'all know I love. If y'all don't know, y'all, I'm gonna tell you, I love me some Erica Jane. Okay, I love Erica Jane. And they started talking about going to Tahoe or something like that. And she was like, "Yeah, I think we got a house there. Well, I mean, we got a couple of houses. I don't know nothing about." I said, "You know what? I want to be that kind of rich. I want to be that kind of rich that I forget houses that I have. I want to forget where I have houses. I want to be that kind of rich." Anyway, so so the girls are having lunch, right? And that's that. Like I said, that was just setting up the whole Bahamas thing. But they're getting along and everything's cool, whatever. So then we see a scene with Lisa Rinna talking to her daughter, Amelia. Amelia's the one that's 17, and we find out that Amelia has been dealing with a. No, let me rewind before we get to that. Lisa and Teddy hook up, and they get to talking about the industry and the expectations of the industry. And Teddy is saying how when she first came out to LA, she wanted to be an actress, and how her agent sent her out on all these great auditions and great job interviews, and people wanted to hire her, but at the end of the day, they wanted her to lose some weight. And Teddy sort of went in the opposite direction of what a lot of people do. Instead of creating an eating disorder and losing weight by any means necessary, she went in the total opposite direction. And she said she gained 200 pounds because her attitude was so much like, forget Hollywood, screw them, screw their little ideas of beauty. I'm going to do what I do. And of course, it went shoo in the other direction. And she just talked about that. And, Lisa Rinna was like, hey, the reality of the situation is this is where we live. She said, I've never had an eating disorder. However, maintaining a certain body image and body weight is absolutely something that's important to the industry that I live in. And it worried me with my daughters. And, we come to find out that Amelia did deal with the eating disorder, that she was dealing with anorexia last year. And again, she's a model as well. And she made a decision to come out and let everybody know. She put it on her Instagram, which is how everybody tell everybody everything these days. They put it on their Instagram. But I do think that it's a good idea, and from the point of view, not a good idea, but I mean a good thing from the point of view of it will probably help somebody else. People we see Instagram and we believe that what we see is real and it's so easy to achieve. It's funny, I'm just having a conversation with a friend of mine. We're both trying to lose weight or whatever, and they were saying how they lost 10 but probably gained 5 of it back. And I was like, look, this thing is a marathon. This ain't no sprint. This not no easy, oh, I'm gonna lose weight and it's gonna be easy. Like, I didn't get this way overnight. I ain't gonna lose it overnight unless I do some surgery or something. And even then, that's not a catch-all. People think that that's the easy way out, and it's not. There's a lot of risk involved in surgery. It's a long process. You put a lot on your body, and you still have to do a lot of things to maintain it. Anyway, let me move over there because that's over there. Let's get back to the story. So, again, it was just a good conversation, and I can appreciate and the fact that she shared her story, because again, it's not easy. It's not easy to tell your story, and it's certainly not easy to let people in to judge you. And one of the things that I noticed when she posted the picture with the caption, she had pictures of her in bikinis and stuff. Amelia, I'm talking about. And one of the things she said in her caption was, "This wasn't healthy." Like, yes, I was posting these pictures of me in these bikinis, but look, I wasn't healthy, and I wasn't doing it right. And so again, I can appreciate her sharing her story. So, Denise Richards. We get to learn a little bit more about Miss Denise Richards this episode. And again, beyond the tabloids, beyond what we thought we knew. We all knew the sensationalism of Denise Richards in the 90s with her movies and Wild Things and all that. And then, of course, we knew the tabloid roller coaster of her and Charlie Sheen's marriage. And but we learned that she has 3 daughters, 2 with Charlie Sheen, the third one she adopted. She said that, the tabloids tried to say it was one of Charlie Sheen's love childs with one of his prostitutes, and she said that is not true. That is not the case. She just moved to Malibu with her boyfriend. Now I got a couple of issues going on here, okay? The first problem I have is you just moved in You just moved to Malibu and you moved your boyfriend in with you. Got a couple of problems with that. And again, single parents with children, y'all can drop it in them comments. Let me know how y'all feel or what y'all think. But this my 2 cents. This my opinion. I have a problem with, she has 3 daughters, the oldest of which is 14. You're bringing a man into the home that you've only known for a year. She said they've only been dating for a year. In the grand scheme of things, a year is not a long time to move somebody into your home and cohabitate. That's just my 2 cents. I just think that's too soon. But you know, who the hell am I? I'm on the outside looking in. The other thing is, we find out later on in another conversation. We'll get to that conversation in a minute. This man is still married. He's married to Nicolette Sheridan, by the way, in case y'all, remember who she was, the Miss Desperate Housewives, who also was married to Harry Hamlin at one point in time. Honey, Hollywood is a mess, because Lisa Rinna brings that up later on. We'll get to that in a minute. But my thing is, I just think that's a lot. The man is technically still married. I don't care how long him and his wife have been separated. He is still married. And you are inviting him into your home with your 3 girls. Anyway, but then we see a scene with her talking to her daughter. Homecoming is coming up, and she's saying how, now, one minute the daughter said something about failing her English test, and then she started talking about her speaking Spanish. Is it English or Spanish she having a problem with, or is it both? She said, well, do you need a tutor? You probably should ask that question before she failed the test. But okay, get her a tutor. And find out if it's really Spanish or English that she needs a tutor for. Anyway. But she was saying, how did anybody ask you to homecoming? And she was like, no, nobody's asked me yet. And she was like, well, what are you going to say if somebody asks you? And her daughter was like, I'm going to say yes. Now, again, that's interesting, because you mean it don't matter who asks you just going to say yes to whoever come along? No, you're not. You're not. If the wrong person asks you, your ass ain't saying yes, but okay. So Denise going to say to her, oh, no, you can't go. You can't date till you're 16. And her daughter was like, well, wait a minute. She was like, how you going to say I can't date until I'm 16? It's just homecoming. She said that's a big deal if somebody asked me to go to homecoming. So then she's going to say, well, now I want a boyfriend since you done told me I couldn't have one. And I'm thinking, this is the first time y'all done had this conversation about about how old she got to be to date. And again, I don't have a problem with you saying she can't date till she's 16, but I'm just trying to figure out why she's 14 and she don't know that. It just seemed like that was a conversation that should have been had before now. So then she says, well, call your father. See what your father has to say. And again, I say, when you are co-parenting and one parent is not in the home, that's probably a conversation you should have had with Charlie before you had her call him. So she calls Charlie Sheen and she says, Dad, homecoming is coming up, and if I get asked, is it okay if I go? She never said, Mom said I can't date till I'm 16. She just gave him the scenario. And Charlie was like, well, I trust your judgment. If, somebody asks you to the prom and you think that he's a good guy, sure. I don't have a problem with it. So now Denise is on the sideline looking stupid. See, you set yourself up for that. That's a conversation you should have had before she was 14. Because she's already in high school at this point. And 2, you and Charlie should be on the same page with that. But, okay. It just seemed like that whole scenario was really unplanned and maybe more for the camera, and it backfired on her. But, okay. Alright, so, Lisa Rinna is planning, and it's interesting because it was a perfect time, because what they were doing was perfect for like Valentine's Day, but this couldn't have been around Valentine's Day. This had to have been filmed months ago. But okay, but it was cute. Lisa was doing, they call it like a dessert tasting type of thing, where she had it was a pastry chef, but they didn't really do pastries. But a pastry chef come in and they created these chocolate hearts. They were hollowed out chocolate hearts. So they filled the heart up, and he had a variety of things, like a little candy bar, a variety of things. They had caramel, they had cookies, they had meringue, they had all these different things. And they put that in, and then they wrote personalized notes that would go on top of the candy. And then he showed them how to put the top on and freeze it closed. And then they decorated the outside of the heart with like the metallic chocolate and all of that, and it was really, and then they had a really pretty boxing, really pretty presentation. It was nice, and it looked like it was fun. Like that looked like something that I would do with my friends, and it looked like it was really fun. Um, but here go little Miss Teddy. I mean, not Teddy, Denise on the sideline talking about, yeah, but I wouldn't really say that this was a pastry tasting. I mean, where's the dough? There's no pastry here. Girl, go on and sit down. Just go on over there, sit down, Denise. You knew. Don't start no shit now. You knew. Um, but they were having a good time. You know, they were having fun. Now, Kyle didn't come because Kyle had to do something with her daughter, I think, because remember her daughter's leaving for college. Lisa didn't come. Now, Lisa said she didn't come because there was something going on with Jiggy. But they showed Lisa at the restaurant with her husband, and she said she just wasn't up for it. She said and again, she's grieving, so I'm going to give Lisa a pass. I'm cool with the fact that she didn't go, because I'd rather her not go than to show up and be a bitch. You know what I mean? So I'm cool with her not going. But Lisa was saying how she just wasn't in the mood. You know, she just didn't feel like smiling and pretending that particular day. And cool. She was talking to Ken about whether she should go to the Bahamas or not. And he was like, go. He was like, I think you need to go. I absolutely feel like this is something you need to do, you know, and we'll be fine here. She was like, well, you know, I got this going on and that going on. Ken was like, whatever, we good. Now, Jiggy, let me say this. I've never had a pet. Like, I had a dog for about 2 months. But growing up, I had like a stray that my parents let me keep for like a year. I don't even think I had the dog a year. So I'm not a pet owner. I'm not a pet person. I would like to have a pet one day, but I do not. I understand that people get to the point where their pets are their family. And I certainly understand that Lisa Vanderpump and her husband treat their dogs probably better than they treat their children. Like I said last week about the dog drinking out of her teacup, and somebody reminded me about season 1 when the dog was eating off the plate at the dinner table. See, I'm not doing all that shit. They start talking about Jiggy need a pacemaker. Are we really about to put a pacemaker inside of a dog? And again, y'all, I understand. I get it. And if you have the money to do it and you can afford to do it, but when they start talking about pacemakers, I was just like, really? A pacemaker for a dog? That's a lot, y'all. That's a lot. So anyway, that was that. So anyway, everybody's going to Jamaica. I keep saying Jamaica. Everybody's going to the Bahamas, y'all. So back to the pastry tasting. So after they got done with that, then there was a second part to it where they actually sat down and were eating, basically eating more candy, and it was real pretty. It looked like rose petals, but they were made out of like chocolate and stuff, and they were really nice. And everybody hemming and hawing about eating except for Erica Jane and Lisa Honey. Erica Jane said, look, I eat dessert every day, and I'm not ashamed of it. And she was like, eat, you only live once, and if you pick up the pounds, so the fuck what, go to the gym and burn them off. Like, I ain't about to sit here and starve or deprive myself. See, that's why I love Erica. I love me some Erica Jane, okay? Because Erica is funny. And she's so real. Gosh, she's real. But yeah, so that was pretty much, I feel like I'm missing something. Something else happened at the pastry, and I'm losing it. I don't remember exactly what. I'm going to remember as soon as I end this video. Something happened at the pastry tasting that I'm forgetting to say. It was something, I feel like something else. I think it was another little snarky comment that Denise Richards might have made. But okay, I'm going to let that go. So then we see everybody packing, getting ready to go on this trip. Let me tell y'all something about. I absolutely love seeing Erica Jane pack for these trips, because it's a production, honey. When I get ready to pack, I just gotta make sure that all the clothes that I want to wear are either clean or I done picked them up from the cleaners. Okay, Erica Jane is a full mood for every dinner, every event, every meal. It is a production, and her team, honey, get together and they plan. I mean, I'm talking about everything from her hair to her makeup to the outfit to the shoes, and it is a production, and I love it. I cannot wait to see what she comes up with for the Bahamas. They ain't give us a whole lot. Usually they give us a breakdown of some of her outfits. They ain't give us a whole lot this time, but honey, I'm ready for it, okay? So we see everybody packing, getting ready to go on the trip and all that, doing what they do. They get ready to go on this trip. This is what I mean by a difference between resort and rich people resorts. This resort then sent them the private jet to fly them out for this trip, to stay at the. See, that's how you know. I don't know if I've ever stayed at a resort that owns a private jet. Now, I've stayed at some nice resorts, but I don't know if they had a private jet, and if they did, they clearly didn't offer it to me. But yeah, so they got the private jet, and while they're on the jet flying to the Bahamas, the conversation comes up about the room arrangement. Now, y'all know Kyle has this thing where she's jealous of Dorit, or she feels like Lisa treats Dorit differently. So Dorit offered Lisa, now y'all know Dorit is probably staying in the, I think Erica called it the CEO suite. Whatever, if they sent the private jet for them for the resort, she's staying at whatever the best damn suite that they have. And again, we ain't talking about them suites we used to seeing. We probably talking about upstairs, downstairs, living room, fireplace, indoor pool. Like, we are talking about some extravagant shit, I'm sure. So Dorit says to Lisa, you can share my suite with me. Lisa gonna say, I want my own space. I want to run to myself. Dorit was like, you will have a room to yourself. Like, you will have your own private space. Like, I'm staying at the best suite they got. I'm sure it's beautiful. So then Lisa gonna turn to Kyle and say, well, isn't there a 3-bedroom, Kyle? I can stay with y'all. Kyle was like, and it surprised me because I was waiting for Kyle to have a little attitude about Dorit extending the room to Lisa. But Kyle was like, how you just gonna leave Dorit? Like, Dorit offered you her room. How you gonna just leave that hanging? Honey, them two, this about to be a whole mess. So then Lisa started doing what Lisa does best and throwing them little jabs. She gonna say, well, Dorit, Dorit has a snoring problem, and Dorit has gas. And Dorit was standing there like, what the fuck? And Kyle called it perfectly. Kyle said, those jabs are all fun and games until one jab goes too far. I said, oh, here we go. So we are off to the Bahamas, y'all. So I'm pretty sure that next week is going to heat up. And I said this ain't a whole lot happened this episode, and I still talk for 20 minutes. Anyway, let me know what y'all think. Drop it in them comments, please.